This video is sponsored by Redbubble.
He wants to live in Florida.
What kind of life would it be? Playing canasta with a bunch of other retirees, shuffleboard, dragging down to the drugstore to get his prescriptions? I don't want that kind of life for him. Nothing to fight for. Nothing to make him feel like he's still in it. He's giving up, dying.
For you it would be giving up. But maybe for him, after a lifetime in front of a hot oven, it would finally be living.
Rebecca can too, once again proving she is the best character in Billions. And this is a scene we have talked about before in previous videos where Rebecca is helping Axe actually be empathetic because they were lying in bed talking about Bruno, the pizza maker. Axe is like, why would we have Bruno retire and just give up like that and go to Florida? That's basically like dying. And Rebecca's like, okay, maybe for you, Axe, that would be the worst case scenario because we talked about Axe and how he's a type A certain type of competitor, which if you don't remember that video, I will link to it right here. But she was saying, think about what Bruno wants. Put yourself in his shoes. That type of retirement plan is perfect for him. That would really make him happy. And it's not about what would make Axe happy, but it's about what would make Bruno happy. See, and that empathy is so important to have. And it's not just key in life and like relationships, but it's also key in business and of course the markets. And I know empathy sounds all soft and woo-woo and you got all these fluffy TED Talks about it. But in this video, I'm going to show you how empathy actually makes you money. Oh, what's that? You're wondering what my shirt says? Check it out. Billions swag. And you guys know this famous dollar bill saying, I am not uncertain. But you see what's highlighted, right? He's very certain. Guys, I've been talking too much. This is like the third video I've done today. My throat is parched. I am thirsty. I guess I'll have a little drink. Go. Yes. Billions mugs too. All this great stuff is from Redbubble, the sponsor of this video today. I'm gonna put a link down below in the description and comments that will take you to the Redbubble page with all this stuff there. And right next to that link, I'll give you a little code so you can have 15% off of whatever you order, just because you're watching this video and you are a fallible person. But I'll tell you more about all the cool stuff they have after we talk about empathy. So empathy, I said it was important for your relationships, your business, and of course the markets. So if you want a good relationship with your significant other or your friends, family, well then you can't be thick-headed. You gotta have empathy because you're gonna have arguments and you gotta be able to see the other person's point of view. You gotta step into their shoes. That's how you get mutual understanding instead of both people trying to power through with their opinion and then just meeting in the middle, fighting and then going their separate ways. You gotta be fallible because of course you could be wrong about the argument, which is why you gotta see it from their side. And think about the show Billions. A huge part of Billions, or really the whole show, is all about power moves. We're watching because we want to see what moves Chuck and Axe are gonna make to take down their enemies. And how do you take down your enemies? Well, you gotta know their pain points, right? What does Chuck Sr. tell his Sonny all the time with that smile? He tells Chuck Jr. to get out there and grab him by the balls and just twist. Because to make a power move, you gotta find someone's weak point and exploit it. And you find those weak points by being empathetic. Once again, stepping in their shoes. The latest example we saw of that was Chuck going after Jock Jeffco, putting that shit train right in front of his window. Because oh boy, does Jock love his ranch. And Chuck basically ruined that for him. And it's not all bad, right? Like sometimes you gotta bribe someone. Like remember what Axe did for Hard Bob? He found out what makes Hard Bob really hard. So if you ever want to screw with people or bribe them or basically just get what you want, remember, empathy is the key. It can be used as a force of good and also a force of evil. It's up to you. Do what you want with it, I guess. Second place where empathy is really important is in business. And I know everything we just talked about can be applied to business, but I'm talking more about product development. Because how do you think a good product is made? Well, it's made with the customer in mind. The best products start with what the customer really wants and needs and builds from there. It's not the other way around where some developers just create something and they're like, oh, these guys are gonna love it because I love it. No, that's how you get a failed product, which happens all the time. The best product developers are starting with the customer. All the best companies that we cover on this channel, they all approach a product with that mentality, stepping into the customer's shoes, having that empathy for what they need. Because it's not about you, it's about them. And anyone with an audience or customers or clients, that's the number one thing they need to understand to be successful. You're doing it for your client, not yourself. And that does take serious empathy. It's not easy getting into the customer's shoes. And that's why Tim Ferriss, when he gives business advice, he always recommends scratching your own itch. So create a product that you yourself would be a customer for. So for example, you're going about your day-to-day life and you're like, damn, why is this specific task I'm doing so hard? I wish I had an X. You create that X to solve your own problem, and hopefully there's a group of people having that same problem that you could then sell that product to. And empathy is the same reason why they talk about diversity in the workplace. Until I understood empathy, I really didn't understand what was the point. I mean, I'm all for mixing it up, you know, getting a bunch of different people just for the fun of it. But I didn't understand when people said that it actually helped the business and helped the product. But the idea is by getting people from all these different backgrounds all working on one product, well, they are going to be able to empathize with different subsections of your customer base. And then when building that product, they're going to be able to appeal to that certain group of people. So one of the criticisms of Twitter was that it was built by a bunch of white men in Silicon Valley, all from the same background, all basically thinking the same thing. So the product turned out in a particular way because all those people had the same background. So the argument is that maybe if they had more women or more people of diverse backgrounds, Twitter wouldn't be so toxic. Now, I mean, I'm fine with Twitter. I use it all the time. But that's just one of the arguments you get, and it's the reason people want diversity in the workplace. But okay, finally, let's get to markets. Why is empathy key in markets? Well, because markets are just a huge psychological game. You are playing against other people. It's like every time you're going long or short, you're making a power move against whoever's on the other side. And this game, the stock market, it's not run by logic. It's run by emotions. It's emotional people trading back and forth. I mean, why do you think we have booms and busts? Why do you think we have momentum, which is what I always talk about and exploit? It's because people are emotional and they're making moves off that. It all comes down to psychology. So you need to understand that, and you need to understand who you're playing against, which is why you need empathy to be able to exploit it and make money. And here's a concrete example of that from MacroOps. In one of our articles, we broke down buyers in equity markets, and we broke them into 5 categories. And the whole idea behind this was piggybacking off of Ray Dalio and what he calls the transactions approach, because he does this same thing. Instead of looking at just basic supply and demand, he actually figures out who are the big buyers in the markets. And then he makes his decisions off that because he steps into their shoes, sees what they would have done, and then takes the other side. So here's a smaller scale version that you can apply to equity markets in particular. So the first set of buyers you have is the dumb money. And you know, these people aren't actually dumb. This is just what the street calls them. So this is like the mom and pop investors, the hobby investors, the guys on Robinhood. They'll see a good news headline like, oh, Amazon is offering 1-day shipping. And they'll see that and they'll go and buy. So we shouldn't call it dumb. It's more like less sophisticated, not a professional in the market. So to think about what they're doing, because they do affect the market, right? They have money and they're pushing prices up. You could look at the headlines of major financial publications like Time, Business Week, Yahoo Finance, Wall Street Journal. You can even evaluate various sentiment indicators like the ones we do in all our market review videos. And usually when people are buying off of headlines, when an idea has proliferated everything to the point where non-professionals are all over it, it's a contrarian indicator. The trend might be ending. So it's that famous saying, you know, when the good news about the market hits the front page of the New York Times, it's time to sell. So again, with empathy, you could kind of step into the shoes of those types of investors and buyers and see what they're doing and react accordingly. The next group of buyers are the dumb funds. And again, they're not actually dumb, but what they are large retirement and mutual funds like Fidelity, Vanguard, American funds. And like I said, they're not dumb, but they're trapped in a system that forces them to always buy and be long and be fully invested. So the restrictions that they have on what they're allowed to do turns them into dumb money. Like if you're managing a mutual fund or a pension fund, you're only allowed to do certain things. Like you're not allowed to go and short Tesla or something. You've got a specific set of stocks that you're allowed to buy, and you have to track an index very closely. So if the S&P moves up 1%, you better make sure that your portfolio moved up 1% too. It's like a different set of rules. You're not free to do whatever you want. So it's important to watch these guys because they make up a large part of the big money flows in the market because they're managing billions, right? So they have a large effect on where stock market prices are going. Gotta get into their heads. Then we have the technical players, which are all the people that are looking at chart patterns, basically. They're trend followers to breakout traders, like the IBD, William O'Neill people. So these guys, instead of causing turning points in the market, they serve to amplify a trend that's already started. So, you know, these guys, if they see a breakout in a particular stock, for example, here in Workday, the price broke out of this little consolidation. These are the guys that would pile in after it's broken out. And hopefully when they pile in, it brings prices even higher. So their actions are pretty easy to see just by looking at a chart. Next, we have the smart smart hedge fund guys. And these are the guys like Stan Druckenmiller or of course Bobby Axelrod. They're using all different types of analysis: fundamental, technical, quant, quant is Taylor's specialty, sentiment. These are the super smart guys that if you could follow, you should, but they're not exactly giving out what's in their portfolio, are they? So a good way to see what they're actually holding is through their 13F filings. And we actually did this for Stanley Druckenmiller, which if you want to see that video, I'll link to it right here. But a 13F filing is what they legally need to file, all these hedge fund managers, if they own equity positions over 100 million. So you get to see what's in their portfolio once a quarter. And the last group of buyers, which is actually not the last group, just the last group we'll go over, is smart value. So these are the guys that actually do publish a lot of stuff, and they're doing pure, deep, fundamental analysis work. Like these are the Warren Buffetts, or what Warren Buffett used to be. So you can literally read their research and just piggyback off them. And these are also guys like Seth Klarman that you could follow right through the 13F filings. So like what we do at MacroOps, a lot of the times if we know a smart value guy, we actually have one of those smart value guys on our team now, we will piggyback off them. I mean, we will wait for a breakout for the money to be moving, and we'll time it with the macro and everything. But if they think it's good, then it's probably very good, and we're willing to put money on it. But you can see the point of identifying buyers like this is just getting into other people's heads in the market, seeing what they're doing and why. Again, it's all people affecting prices, buying and selling, just on a massive scale. So you need to have that empathy to be able to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. And that's how you can make money. So no, empathy isn't all just fluff. It's really important, as Rebecca Cantu fully understands. Now, I know you still want to know about all this swag that I got in this awesome shirt. So remember, I got the link down below in the comments and description and that code so you get 15% off of everything you buy. So this company Redbubble, right? They came to me and they're like, wow, AK, you talk a lot. Sometimes you even talk about billions. So here, we got this deal with Showtime and the show Billions where we make their merchandise. Because you can't stop talking, here, talk about this. Here's a link to some merchandise and a code so your people can get 15% off. So I'm like, thanks Redbubble, very cool. And Redbubble is actually pretty cool because what they do is they take artist designs that have been submitted and then they basically put it on all these types of merch. And they sell it for the artist, they take care of all the shipping and all that stuff, and then they give the artists a cut. So it's basically helping starving artists not starve as much, which is a beautiful thing. It's hard out here, so you're supporting a good cause. So that link down below, it's gonna take you to this page right here with all the Billions stuff. You see my mug, my t-shirt right here. This is my favorite t-shirt, the I am not uncertain. That's clever as hell. But you could get a nice little Wags phone case. These two shirts I really like too. You got like the Billions and then you got little names of each person. This American oligarch shirt, this oligarch is in Russian, I think. But you see, they got a bunch of nice stuff. And then when you pick a shirt like the shirt I'm wearing, you get to decide what type of shirt you want it on. A long t-shirt, a long sleeve t-shirt. Ladies, they got shirts for you too. The chiffon top, is that how you say it? V-necks though, scoop t-shirts. Careful wearing this dollar bill t-shirt around though. Bonnie and all his ladies might get a little mad. No, I'm kidding. For some reason, they're all cool with dollar bill's ways. And that's why dollar bill is dollar bill. You guys can get this mug too, but it doesn't just have to be a mug. It can be a tall mug. It could be a sticker. You can't drink out of a sticker, so it ruins the point, but you can also even get a travel mug. However you want it, they got it. And if you order it and you hate it for some reason, their return policy is really cool too. It's like no hassle returns. They don't give you any problems. But anyways, the link to the page down below, description and comments, and that code. Make sure you use the code, get that 15% off because you're a Fallible member. And if you want more Billions videos where we break down things just like we did in this video, then check out this playlist right here. And we're gonna do more Billions breakdowns. I even got some more merch to show you. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell so you get an email notification when those videos come out. We're publishing almost every single day, all about billions and investing and finance and business. So definitely subscribe if you're interested. Even if you're not interested, just subscribe anyway. I will see you in the next video. Stay fallible out there. Bye.